Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Transformers 1. So Transformers 1 is an animated sci-fi action film directed by Josh Cooley, starring voices of Chris Hemsworth, Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Laurence Fishburne, Jon Hamm, Steve Buscemi, and many other names. And it follows these lowly minor bots. You got Orion Pax, D-16, Lido 1, and B-127. And through a bunch of mishaps, they end up on the surface of Cybertron to look for the matrix of leadership so they can present it to their leader, Sentinel Prime, and be like renowned as heroes and save the day and all of that jazz. But once uncovering the whereabouts of the supposed matrix of leadership, they uncover a dark secret that has been kept from all Transformers for at least 50 cycles. So I remember seeing the first trailer for Transformers 1 months and months ago and just thinking, wow, what have they done? They just kind of reverted Transformers into this like silly little kids movie. And to be fair, Transformers has always been for kids. It is robots turning into vehicles, for goodness sake. But this one just looked overly silly and overly kiddish based on that trailer. And then of course, you know, I forget which festival it premiered at, but after that first premiere, you get this wave of just stellar reviews saying, wow, this movie's actually pretty great, it's pretty good. Then you got your secondary critic reviews coming out. Wow, they're right, this movie's actually pretty good. So I found myself wanting to know what the hype is about. Like, I've seen the trailer. I know this movie does not look great. I have to check it out on my own and see it. And I'm here to report, guys, Transformers 1 is pretty good. This is a pretty good movie. The voice acting is great. The lore that they put, the lore is different than what you're typically used to with how the Transformers form. I know there's a bunch of different, you know, incarnations of the Transformers, so there is different lore out there. But what they do here is different. There have been hints in the past that Megatron, who in this movie starts out as D-16, and Optimus Prime, who starts out as Orion Pax, that they were friends before they became enemies. I'm not sure if it's always been a part of Transformers lore, but in recent years that has been the lore, that they had a falling out in the past and led them become enemies. The way it is handled in this movie is fantastic, and I really enjoyed the way D-16, Megatron, the way he slowly becomes this darker character as the movie goes on. It's basically, once he finds out the truth about why they are minors, it's great. And the fact that the way Megatron gets his name is fantastic, and maybe a slight spoiler here, but his hero was Megatronus Prime, who is known to have been the strongest of the Primes. So that's who he looks up to. And as he becomes more and more jaded with the Primes, for a reason I'm not going to spoil here, he drops that from the name and just takes on the name Megatron. So I really did enjoy that. The symbol, the Decepticon symbol that all Decepticons wear, is Megatronus Prime's face. And why they wear it is handled excellently in this film, with an interaction between Megatron and another Transformer. And like I said, the friendship between Megatron and Optimus. I'm just going to use the names Megatron and Optimus Prime because Orion Pax and D-16, I don't want to keep going back and forth, but the friendship that they have in the beginning really works. You can tell that they really do care for each other. You can tell that it's a real friendship. They're not always buddy-buddy goody two-shoes. Like, sometimes Optimus is getting on Megatron's nerves, and, you know, eventually, you know, he's like, all right, you were right. It's that kind of friendship. They really would do anything for each other. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Chris Hemsworth and Tyree Henry's voices. It really didn't take me out of the film too much. You know, you're growing up, you're used to hearing Peter Cullen's voice as Optimus Prime, but this is a different incarnation, so it was fine to hear a different version of the character. It's like when that old Transformers movie came, not, I guess old at this point, but Michael Bay's Transformers movie, when it came out, Peter Cullen still voiced Optimus Prime, but you had Hugo Weaving voiced Megatron, which is different than the original voice actors. So, you know, new people can come in and do these voices, and it doesn't really take away from the character. Like I said, I think my favorite character in the movie still, it had to have been Megatron. I really enjoyed his journey. I really enjoyed his fall to the dark side. I really enjoyed how his eyes go from yellow to red throughout the story. Like, they start out yellow. He's bright-eyed, you know, he's a happy-go-lucky guy. First learns out this dark truth. They turn like a darker amber color. They're not red all the way. Once you meet the High Guard, who eventually becomes the Decepticons, they get even a little darker, even closer to orange. And then by the end, they're completely read, and I really enjoy that. And speaking of the High Guard, who become the Decepticons, this is where you meet Starscream in the movie, and they do a great job in explaining why Starscream has that like high-pitched voice. That's something that wasn't really necessary, but I'm glad they threw it in there. I like all the callbacks to the original movie, the phrase "more than meets the eye," the phrase "Autobots roll out." It's all just very well. The animation quality is fine. I think they did do this animation style, one, because it would be cheaper, and two, just trying to get more kids in the theater. I do feel like personally, and this would have probably made this movie a 10 out of 10 for me, if they had used that live action quality style of animation that is in the Transformers live action movies. And if you want a good example, watch the beginning scene of Bumblebee. They should have just had that type of quality CGI throughout this whole movie, and I think it would have been perfect, like I said. And all the other Transformers that have main roles, they're fine as well. Scarlett Johansson's the lead of one. I really did enjoy her. I like the fact that she is the most capable member of Optimus's team throughout the entire movie, but she does let him know, like, you have something I don't have, and that is hope. That was a great line in the film. Bumblebee, who in this movie, he is not Bumblebee. He is just B-127, and then he has the short name of B, and then he lets them all know, or you can call me Badassatron. And when Keegan-Michael Key does that, I'm not sure if he's doing it or if they hired Frank Welker or some type of machine does it, but he gets like a more robotic voice and it sounds cool. And he does it multiple times throughout the movie. And surprisingly, I never got tired of it. So Badassatron was funny as well. I think that I just recently saw The Wild Robot, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I do still believe that The Wild Robot will win the Academy Award next year for Best Animated Feature. But I think my favorite animated feature this year so far is Transformers 1. I think it's really good. In terms of a score, I'm probably going to give it a nice 8.7 out of 10. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen better quality animation, but that doesn't take away from how great this movie is. Unfortunately, and like a lot of people said, I don't think this movie's going to make a lot of money. I don't think a lot of people are going to go see it. I really think they botched the release of this film. This should have been a middle of the summer type of movie. That first trailer really ruined it. It is a lot better than the box office is saying. So if you're watching this review, please, if you have kids, no, forget if you have kids. If you like Transformers as an adult or a kid, go see this movie. It is really, really good. And I think the best part of the story, as I mentioned before, the friendship between Megatron and Optimus Prime is the heart. Is the heart of the story, is the direction. And Josh Cooley, who, by the way, he directed Toy Story 4, which I think, personally, is my favorite Toy Story movie. I think, Toy Story 3 was the end for Andy as a character. Toy Story 4 was the end for Woody as a character. And this is the beginning of the Transformers as characters. And I would love to see how they're going to continue the story. And I'm pretty sure if I were Paramount, just go ahead. I know this movie's not going to make a lot of money, but go ahead and start making Transformers 2. Title it Transformers 2 and put it out in the middle of summer when all the kids are out of school. I can already tell where the story's going. Optimus and Megatron are going to have to team up in the next one to take out the Quintessons. In the third one, you're probably going to get Unicorn. Eventually, we're going to get Galvatron. And I don't care. I know the story. I just want to see it happen. And they should really do it. And honestly, I think that Josh Cooley, it would be great if he could stay on as director for all the movies. They can make it work out. I think he's a fantastic director. And I just want to see him return, at least for the next 2 films. There's one more thing that I think I would change about this movie. It's a small thing. So in the beginning, when the Paramount logo comes in, the stars, they go over the water. So in Michael Bay's Transformers movies, when the stars came in, they made that like electronic sound. That's not in this movie, but I wish it was. I've kind of grown accustomed to that being a part of the opening of Transformers movies. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.